Hey folks, today we're going to fix up a G1 Jazz, and in particular, we're going to deal with this broken roof. And this is a very common failure point that you've probably seen on a lot of the Jazz carcasses you've run across out there. But the way it breaks may not be the way you expected it to break. It is a little bit different than how Bluestreak and Prowl break. The technique I show you is going to be a little bit more on the advanced side. It's a bit involved, and I'm not quite ready to declare it the definitive guide either. I'm still refining the technique myself, but if you give this a try, you'll find that it is very sturdy, very successful, and nearly completely hidden. Now, we want to get Jazz looking like this, but when he lands on my doorstep, he often looks a little bit more like this. Now, we're not going to be able to tackle all of that today, but let me walk through some of those common weak spots on this model. Now, the most prominent one is the joint between the hood and the windshield. You've definitely seen him broken in that way, but the more unique break is inside of his head, there's a loop within a track that allows this roof to extend backwards. If you don't extend that hood backwards, there's not enough clearance to fold the roof onto the back and transform the head. And of course, as little kids with little hands would do, you would just jam the thing backwards the way Prowl and Bluestreak operate, and then it would snap the hood. Now, the loop itself within that track often breaks, and that's going to be the focus of today's repair. And rounding out the weak spots on Jazz, it's mainly an issue of yellowing. He's got white plastic in the fenders, forearms, doors, and the spoiler that all tend to go very yellow, but they also respond very well to whitening treatments. So let me show you what's happening here with this broken loop. As I pop the hood off the back of the head, you'll see they're actually not even attached anymore because that loop is what held it all together. There's a lot of missing material there, and when you look at an intact loop, you can see what's going on. That loop controls the range of motion between the collapsed and extended position because it's sliding within this trench in the back of Jazz's head. And I'll use my screwdriver to simulate the axle pin that is normally present, and I'll show you the real pin later. But for now, I'll just show you how it functions with my screwdriver. And you can see that that axle is both how everything pivots and also what controls the sliding, of the hood backwards into that position that creates enough clearance to transform it. And we'll also address this broken joint between the hood and the windshield. We'll use the pinning technique, which we covered in detail in a recent video about Prowl, and I'll link that down in the comments. So we're not going to spend quite as much time on it today. Thankfully, Jazz is a little bit easier to deal with than Prowl. There's this natural rake to the windshield at the bottom edge that lines up with the hood, and it's much easier to find the right angle working with the piece off the car, whereas with Prowl, it's very difficult and you have to do it on the car. And the tools today are typical of a pin job. We're going to use a pin vise drill, super glue, plastic weld, a piece of reinforcing metal rod, which I'm going to fashion from a thumbtack, although normally I use a paper clip, and I'll explain why later, and also files of various grit. But the most important supply today is this alligator clip, also known as a clothespin. And if you've bought a shirt at the mall, it may have been folded up and held together with these little pins, and you may have a handful of them in your closet right now. I bought a pack of 100 for something like $4 shipped. And this will provide the raw material that's going to restore the loop in Jazz's hood. And here are the measurements of the loop we're restoring just for your reference. It's a good idea to check as you're working just to stay close to these. You don't need NASA level precision, but you want to stay close enough. And the most important measurement is actually the width of the trench in Jazz's head, which is exactly 3 millimeters wide. And this alligator clip is also 3 millimeters wide. And because the measurements match, the alligator clip slides in and out really easily within that trench. And you can start to see what we need to cut off, right? There's already a natural curve there that's quite convenient for restoring the loop. We just need to cut off a generous amount of material and then file it down to shape and then reattach it. So we'll start by preparing the mating surfaces. This is on the Jazz hood side where I'm just trying to remove any irregularities from the original break. And then I've cut a large span out of the alligator clip that'll serve as the replacement loop. I've purposely cut it too large so that I can gradually file the surfaces down to get a really nice fit. And we'll just periodically test fit, check our measurements, file a little more until we get it just about right. But we're getting pretty close, so let's take a quick look side by side between the replacement piece we've been fabricating and an unbroken original loop. And you can see the dimensions are pretty good. I think this is going to function exactly the way we want it to. And now the issue is going to be a matter of strength because this, unlike a lot of repair jobs, is not cosmetic. This is a load-bearing piece. It's moving. There's going to be impact every time you open and close the piece, so it needs to be particularly strong. And that's why you see me marking and drilling bore holes. So 4 holes are drilled, one on each mating surface. Those are going to receive metal reinforcement pins, and that'll provide the strength that we need for this piece to perform its mechanical function and absorb the impact. Normally, when I create a metal reinforcement pin, I'll use a piece of paper clip. They're easy to cut, and for the forces experienced by a collectible toy, I think they're more than strong enough. But for this particular kind of heavy duty use case, I wanted to try something quite a bit stronger. So I've cut pieces of reinforcement rod from the tip of a thumbtack, which is quite a larger diameter and stronger piece of metal. In retrospect, it might have been overkill. I don't think it was probably that necessary. And the larger diameter also came with some trade-offs in terms of the ability to sink the pin securely into the plastic, but it still worked really well. It's one of the reasons why I say I'm still refining the technique. So I like how it came out, but I'm not sure if it was really necessary to go with something quite so strong. Now I'll sink these pins through test fitting into the pieces. You get what's happening there. The two sides have to fit together, and what goes between are the reinforcement pins. So a little dab of glue on the tip before you sink the pin, and then I'm using a generous amount of plastic weld on the actual plastic mating surface. I already tested off camera the alligator clip plastic, and it reacted very well to plastic weld. Not all plastics do, but this one definitely did. It gets very kind of gummy and gooey. What's happening is you're melting the plastic so that when it connects with the other piece and they re-solidify, that liquid plastic becomes one contiguous piece of plastic. So it's not like gluing two pieces together. You're really sort of chemically melting them together. And here's a moment of truth. It's time to put the pieces together and clamp them tight for about 30 seconds until they hold. And then I'm going to go back over the outside of the cracks, the seams with additional plastic weld. It has a really good capillary effect where it will kind of find its way into the seams from the sides. I'm not worried about any buildup. For one thing, plastic weld doesn't have a bad habit of doing that, but even if it does, we're going to deal with it later because we do need to apply some filing to make sure that everything fits and slides just right within that trench in Jazz's head. And while that loop is drying, we're going to deal with the windshield to hood connection in a sort of abbreviated form of the repair we did on Prowl. Just marking the drill holes here. The key insight is that you need to drill up at an angle into the windshield and down at an angle into that center post, which is part of the loop that we've been working on. Then we'll do a quick test fit, and remember that you need to drill the borehole to be slightly wider in diameter than the pin you're going to be using. You want that little bit of play to fine tune the fit later. Then, as usual, we'll put plastic weld on the mating surfaces and a dab of super glue on the tips of the pin. And then once you've done that, just put the piece back together, check your fit. Remember that plane between the bottom of the hood and the rake of the windshield at the bottom, keeping that straight, and you should have a really nice fit. We'll disassemble Jazz's upper body by removing this black undercarriage. It's just these 4 screws, and this undercarriage is shattered, so I'm going to set that aside for a future project. It's pretty easy to repair. And in the meantime, I'll pull an intact vintage donor piece and use that for this car. Now that his head and his neck axle pin are free, we can do a test of the restored hood loop in the trench and see if it's sliding correctly. And it is sliding correctly, but it's a little bit tight, and that's only because the plastic weld and that sort of dissolved layer of plastic left a slightly irregular surface. It's not a big deal. So I'm just going to file it down with my metal file, which is a coarser grain, and then I'll switch to this emery board style file with a finer grain. And now when we try it out, you'll see it's moving really smoothly. It's really perfect. What you want is for it to move with very little resistance until it reaches the collapsed position, the closed position. That's when it should sort of snug up, and that's exactly what's happening here. And now I'll use the wet end of a Q-tip just to wipe up any residue or debris from the filing. And then I also notice there's a little bit of nastiness on the underside of this roof piece, so we'll clean that up a bit as well. And then flip to the dry side of the Q-tip to remove any residual moisture. Now it's time to reassemble the hood and the head and the axle pin, and I'm pretty happy with how it's working. I mean, everything's nice and straight and lined up, and the repair is entirely hidden within the inside of Jazz's head, right? So you can't tell that it ever happened. The only real evidence of a repair there is the pinning of the windshield to the hood, right? And you'd have to look at it from a really unnatural angle to see any evidence of that little borehole that's kind of peeking out from underneath. So let's get this seated back inside the hood. You can see there are two little cradles where the end of the axle pin are supposed to be seated. And then it's a bit fiddly, but you'll get it done. Just get that black undercarriage back in and screw things down, and he'll hold together. And once everything's screwed back into place, we'll tidy him up a bit. And that'll make it easier for us to give it a closer inspection. The roof works. That's a nice, satisfying click. And here's Jazz with his newly repaired roof and hood loop fully functional, and really an imperceptible repair that I think is very strong, very durable. Hopefully, you kind of followed my reasoning for why I potentially even went overboard in the strengthening process. Here he is side by side with a never broken, never repaired Jazz, and you'd be pretty hard pressed to pull him out of a lineup. Although, if you're eagle eyed enough, you can always find like a little break in the paint where the break happened, but that can also be covered up if you're into painting. And we'll do a quick check of the profile view of the repaired and never repaired Jazz just to make sure that our angles are right and everything's looking good to me. And we'll also do a quick transformation just to make sure that we're confident that everything's functional. Of course, we got to get those arms out of the way and fold over the torso in just the right way. That's another risky moment. Slide the hood back, and it clears the edge. And that's the repair of Jazz's roof, both the broken joint between his windshield and hood, as well as the hidden loop inside the back of his head that controls the sliding function of the roof. We fabricated a replacement piece from a small alligator clip or clothespin, filed it down to fit, used the pinning method to provide significant strength, and put everything back together. I think this is a fun project. It's a little bit more involved, but very rewarding. You get a nearly imperceptible, but also very durable repair. And if you like this sort of thing, I hope you'll take a look at some of the other videos on the channel. We talk about history and trivia and engineering details, as well as all these kind of repair techniques. I hope you found this information useful, and we'll see you next time.